On to Stand-Com report number 884, Representative Thielen, followed by Morita.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm rising to vote no on the underseas cable bill, and I'd like to make a few comments.
Please proceed in opposition.
Thank you. House Bill 1176 proposes a regulatory scheme that really allocates the risk to the ratepayer. For the first time in Hawaiian Electric Industries history, this legislation would shift HECO's share of responsibility to the ratepayer in the form of higher costs, adjusted rates, and surcharges, no matter what the status of the inter-island cable project. Not only would the risk of the project be put upon the ratepayer should the inter-island cable be unprofitable, but House Bill 1176 also shifts the burden of doing business to the ratepayer, even if the inter-island cable is not completed. House Bill 1176 shields HECO and its shareholders from all possible negative outcomes. But on the flip side, profits will not be shared with the ratepayer. So the ratepayer pays, but the ratepayer does not get any share of the profits. The monies will continue to be the property of the shareholders exclusively. Proponents of the bill argue that by eliminating all risk to the utility, the ratepayer will benefit from lower rates should the cable be installed. However, this legislation does not establish any protection for the consumer that would guarantee that the ratepayer would actually benefit from lower rates. Proponents also argue that the Public Utilities Commission provides oversight, but House Bill 1176 does not guarantee Public Utilities Commission neutrality. Second reason I oppose the bill is that House Bill 1176 is premature. The environmental impact analysis for inter-island cable is still in the preliminary stages. Thus, even if it's eventually established that the cable is environmentally sound and that ratepayers must take all of the risk, it does not follow that the ratepayer would be asked to take on the risk of the project before the cost of the project is determined. At this point, the legislature should not agree to saddle the ratepayer for all of the cost of a project when it's not even clear what the extent of these costs are. Another reason is that House Bill 1176 establishes a presumption that the construction of the inter-island cable is a foregone conclusion. By seeking to establish a regulatory structure for the inter-island cable well before the preliminary analysis are completed, a presumption is created that the inter-island cable is a foregone conclusion. This bill in many ways validates the criticism coming from Molokai and Lanai beneficiaries that the approval and development of these projects are completed without a good faith consideration of all pertinent data. There have been attempts to obtain financial information on the inter-island cable, but they have been thwarted. There's a study that has been done by the National Renewable Energy Lab and Booz Allen. The NREL study is virtually completely redacted. So I show you, Mr. Speaker, a page from that study, and all you see are blanked out pieces of blanked out spots over the information. So we don't have the real information showing what the risk to the ratepayer will be, and the ratepayer certainly should have access to this information. The other thing is, Mr. Speaker, as I stand here and I look at this piece of legislation, I keep thinking super ferry. Special legislation for one project, super ferry. Now we know how that went. We came back in special session to do it again, and then it was struck down by the court. This smells the same, looks the same. I think virtually is the same, that we have a super ferry bill sailing through in a premature fashion. And I would ask the members to look at this more
Representative
thoroughly.
Thielen, your time has run out. Representative Pine.
I yield my time.
So
Mr.
ordered.
Speaker,
I would
the
ask
boat
the-
hasn't sailed yet. If it can,
I would ask
Suki,
the
you're out of
members-
order, Representative Suki, so please sit down. Representative Thielen, you may proceed.
You know, it's a good thing I can't hear him, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Thielen, you may proceed.
Thank you.
Okay, Representative.
I would ask the members, Mr. Speaker, to take a stronger look at this and think of this. We don't have the information upon which to formulate an educated act to decide whether or not legislation like this should go through. It's very premature. It certainly smells like special legislation, and I, for one, would like to see an NREL report that shows the economic analysis, the power output analysis, and I would like to see it where the data is actually shown to us as decision makers. I would hope that we would be able to get this before this bill moves any further on the
Mr.
Senate.
Speaker, point of information. Do
Representative
we
Suki,
have a
state your
time
point.
limit on this?
Yes,
measure here?
Representative Suki, Representative Pine has yielded her time, and that's why I've allowed
Okay, thank
Representative
you very
Thielen to
much.
continue.
All right, please proceed.
Don't worry, you two seniors. Come on, please continue.
Well,
Representative Thielen, you may continue
as
on.
the chair of transportation says, please proceed. We did that with Super Ferry and we were shot down. And
Okay.
so we have the very same kind of special legislation here. And I would ask that the chair of transportation take a look at this and say, doesn't this ring bells in his head? Doesn't it sound
Okay,
like the
Representative
same
Thielen,
thing? And Mr. Speaker, I personally will be asking NREL for a copy with the data in it. I will probably be refused. DBED has it. I would think that we as a body should get that information so we can really consider this and decide whether or not this bill should even move forward.
Okay, thank you very